what if the greatest danger was looking for the unknown? That's what happens in this Minecraft ARG. It all starts with Avery's story. You probably already heard it, so I'm not here to repeat the 100 theories already floating around the internet. But I don't need us on the same page about a few facts before we get to where I actually want to go. Today I want to talk about the discomfort of something that has no explanation, and how even when it's a real danger, we still can't just leave it alone and look away. We go in, we follow the trail cloud by cloud, even when part of us already knows we're probably chosen. It all starts with a sentence. Whatever you do at the crossroad, don't turn left. Taken from the video where book I did not write, where Avery finds a mine he swears he never dug, and the book that kicks off the entire story. In that video description, Avery says he found the laptop in a storage locker and has been using it every day since, but that it already had Minecraft installed, which is already strange on its own. That world belongs to whoever owned it before, and Avery just happened to stumble into it. Or did somebody leave that laptop there on purpose, specifically for him to find? Either way, moving on. The contents of the book are strange enough, but what happens in the last second of the video is stranger. Avery's inventory suddenly fills up with random items. And if you take the first letter of each block, you get something that looks suspiciously like a code, one that points to a Google Drive link. That's where the rest of the story picks up, very tidy, very well organized, for something that's supposedly not supposed to exist. Inside that folder, there are recordings from someone else. There's Lord 3, the original player of that world, before the laptop ever ended up in Avery's hands. And that's where Lord 3 leaves the line that opens all of this. The Crossroads Warning, don't turn left. He already knew something in that world wasn't right, that it shouldn't exist. And yet, instead of deleting the save and disappearing, he stayed, kept recording, kept documenting every step, and deliberately stared the clouds toward whoever would come next. Here's the first question that should genuinely bother you. If he already knew it was dangerous, why leave the path marker for someone else to follow? Because at some point in those recordings, something starts appearing behind their Lord 3, putting out the torch behind him one by one. And even though their Lord 3 doesn't seem afraid of it, something keeps him from turning back, and in the end, he throws himself forward. The community ended up calling this the King in Yellow, something that seemed to notice is being watched and reached to it. Their Lord 3 nearly abandoned the investigation entirely the first time he confronted this, but he doesn't. He keeps going, and buried in those same recordings he leaves a second message, far more hidden than the first, one that wasn't meant to trigger when Avery walked through the golden doors, but when someone else finished hearing the whole story. Ram, Avery, it's her. How did he know who Avery even was? And why warn him about the danger instead of just deleting the word so no one will ever find it again? Let's sit with this for a second, because this part actually matters, not as a loose fact but as a story. Delta 3 wasn't someone looking for that kind of adventure. He was someone who at some point ran into something that shouldn't have existed in his save file, and made a very deliberate choice. Instead of deleting the world and moving on with his life, he decided to document it, all of it. He left the clothes in order. He stated the signal so that whoever found this after him would have at least some chance of understanding what was happening before it was too late. It's a strange choice if you actually sit with it. The easy option was to just leave. He chose to stay long enough to draft a map instead, a survival guide maybe. So not a very detailed one, about what might actually have been happening in that world. And on the other side there was Avery, playing exactly the way you would if you opened up some random world and found something off. Curious, unprepared, more than a little clumsy with the puzzle, but never quite able to stop exploring, because technically this was still just his Minecraft save. That one simple habit, never leaving a cave hall explored, a chest unopened, a path unfollowed, is exactly what the ARG use against you. It doesn't hurt you with anything foreign to the game. It hurts you with the instinct Minecraft itself trained into you from your very first world. If something there, you check it out. Lord 3 knew that. That's exactly why he left the trail somewhere he knew someone like Avery, someone like you, will be able to receive following it. And here's the payoff of all this. The reason we started by talking about danger, not curiosity. What makes an ARG like this world isn't the mystery itself, it's that it refuses to fully close. Every close you solve opens a new question. Every answer raises another uncomfortable choice. Was the Lord 3 warning meant to protect Avery, or was it part of something much bigger? Was sharing that Google Drive an act of care, or just another way for whatever this thing is to get more people involved? Nobody knows for sure. And that uncertainty isn't a flaw in the ARG. It's literally the mechanism keeping you here, watching the next clip, reading the next tree. It's the exact same thing that got you to the end of this video, not the promise of a full answer, but the feeling that if you just go a little further, you finally get it, and you are going to keep looking anyway. So next time you feel that pull to follow one more clue, one more clip, one more thread, it's worth asking yourself, do you actually want the answer? Or do you just want to stay a little longer right there in the part where you still don't know? If you are into this kind of breakdown, while we get hooked on things that have no explanation, subscribe. I do more cases like this. Don't miss it.